In the Akita prefecture in northern Japan, there is an elementary school that closed in 2021. The building is pristine. The desks are still lined up in perfect rows. The chalkboard is clean. It closed because there were no more children. Not one. The village had simply run out of them. That village is not an outlier. It is a preview of what is coming for the entire country at a speed that no government policy, no economic stimulus, no robot technology can stop. Japan has the world's oldest population. 30% of its citizens are over 65. By 2040, that number hits 35%. 1 in 3 Japanese people will be a pensioner, supported by a workforce that is shrinking every single year. Japan is losing 600,000 people per year. Net, after births, after deaths, after everything, 600,000 people gone every year. That is a medium-sized city disappearing annually. This is not a new problem. Japan has known about this for 40 years. Study after study, commission after commission. Every time the conclusion was the same. Japan needs more babies, or Japan needs immigration. The government chose a third option. It chose to do almost nothing and call it a cultural value. Japan built its entire post-war prosperity on one model. Work hard, save hard, invest in the company. The company takes care of you forever. Lifetime employment, guaranteed pension, your identity, your community, your whole life, inside one organization. It worked spectacularly. For 30 years, Japan was the envy of the world. Electronics, cars, steel, a bombed flat nation rebuilt into a miracle, the second largest economy on earth. And then the miracle became the trap. The same culture that built the economy started consuming the people inside it. Japan even has a word for dying from overwork, Karoshi, an officially recognized cause of death. The government tracks it. Courts award compensation for it, and companies continue doing it anyway. And here is the connection nobody makes. When work consumes your entire life, you don't have children, you don't have time, you don't have energy, you barely have a self. The company got everything, the future got nothing. Japan didn't just build a culture of overwork, it built a culture of demographic suicide, and then taught it to every child in every school, called it discipline, called it Japanese. Japan's fertility rate is 1.2. You need 2.1 to keep a population stable. Do that for 3 generations and the country is half the size. That is not a projection. That is arithmetic. There are more adult diapers sold in Japan today than baby diapers. That is not a metaphor. That is a retail statistic. And it tells you everything about the direction this country is traveling. But here is what almost nobody talks about when they cover Japan. The population problem is not the real crisis. The population crisis is the trigger. The debt is the real crisis. And those two things are now colliding. It is a countdown, and it has been running for 30 years. While everyone looked the other way, Japan's national debt is 263% of GDP. The highest of any developed nation in human history. To put that in terms, you can feel Japan owes 2.5 times its annual income. Japan carried this debt for one reason. Its own citizens bought it. Japanese households poured their savings into government bonds. That system worked when there were enough savers, but the savers are now retired. They are not saving anymore, they are spending. And the generation behind them is smaller. And the one behind that is smaller still. The buyers of Japanese debt are disappearing, along with everyone else. Japan also holds $1.1 trillion in American Treasury bonds, the largest single foreign holder of US debt on Earth. If Japan needs to start selling those bonds to fund its own pension system, US interest rates spike, US mortgage rates spike. Japan tried immigration. In a country where a Korean family that has lived there for 4 generations is still considered foreign, the word is politically toxic. They brought in workers from Vietnam, the Philippines, Indonesia, paid them badly, gave them almost no rights. And here is the question Japan refuses to answer honestly. If you need these people to keep your hospitals and farms and factories running, why are you treating them like they are temporary? Because the answer reveals something Japan is not ready to say about itself. Japan also tried robots. It leads the world in industrial automation, more robots per manufacturing worker than any country on earth. In some warehouses, some hospitals, some care homes, the robots are already doing the work, and it is genuinely impressive. But a robot does not pay income tax. A robot does not contribute to a pension fund. A robot does not buy a house or raise children. Robots solve a production problem. They do not solve a demographic one. That is not a subtle distinction. It is the whole problem. The young Japanese people who remain know exactly what has been done to them. A 28-year-old Japanese worker will pay into a pension system their entire life to support a retired population larger than anything in recorded history. And when they retire, there will not be enough workers behind them to return the favor. They will do it without complaint, without protest, because that is what the culture asks. Nobody planned this. Nobody intended it. And nobody in power has had the courage to say it plainly. Japan got in early in the 1950s. The bill arrives in the 2030s. And like all pyramid schemes, it works until it doesn't. And then it doesn't work very fast. Japan will not collapse with a crash. No Lehman moment. No emergency broadcast. No queues at the ATM. The decline will be immaculate. A perfectly maintained, exquisitely managed, beautifully packaged, slow disappearance. The bullet trains will run on time. The streets will stay clean. The crime rate will stay near zero. And every year there will be fewer people to notice any of it. A country so good at maintaining order that it will maintain order all the way to the end. That is not a comfort. That is the tragedy. Back in Akita, in that empty school, someone polishes the floors once a week. Nobody can say exactly why anymore. Habit, perhaps, or the Japanese refusal to let things fall apart even when the reason for them is already gone. Japan built the most successful society in human history by almost every measure. Safety, longevity, literacy, order, craftsmanship, and then it optimized itself out of existence. It didn't fail. It perfected itself into a corner. The work ethic consumed the workers. The corporate loyalty dissolved the family. Subscribe to World Fracture and tell us in the comments, do you think Japan can reverse this? Or is this the most inevitable ending in economic history?